Hey everybody, this is TechNolli, and today we're going to show you how to install Big Sur from scratch. We're going to show you how to make the EFI, going to show you how to install it, and the differences between Mojave or Catalina and Big Sur, because it's a lot larger file. It takes a lot longer to install, but not to worry. Now, I'm going to use this little computer right here, the Lenovo Tiny M93P. We did this video a long time ago, but the reason I chose this computer to do this on is because it's a 4th generation. So if you've got an older computer, you'll be able to see that you can run Big Sur as well. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to my website, TechNolli.com, and just go over here to where it says more and then downloads. And the reason I have you go to my website is because I've got all of the links to all the different things that we're going to need. We're going to grab proper tree. We're going to need that, and we'll download all of it right here. And we're going to need mount EFI. Okay, so we'll download that. Okay, now what I need you to do is have a USB stick ready in your computer, and I've got mine right here. And let's go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to go to Utilities and format this USB stick. Okay, now it has to be 16 gigs or better, because Big Sur is over 12 gigabytes, so we need at least a 16 gigabyte stick. All right, and then over here where it says View, make sure you click Show All Devices, and right here is my SanDisk, and I'm going to erase it, and I'm going to name it USB. And we want to make sure the format is macOS Extended Journaled, and the scheme is GUID Partition Map, and click Erase. All right, so now where do I get the Big Sur to install this? Well, this computer right here that I'm on is on Catalina, and if I click here, I can just simply download it. And I'm going to do that. Now, let's say you've got a friend or you've got a computer, a Mac, and that you can then download macOS Big Sur from the App Store. Okay? So once we download it, then we're going to have, when we go over here to Applications, you're going to see Install macOS Big Sur will be in the Apps folder. Okay? So once we've done that, we can go ahead and start making our USB vanilla bootloader. Okay? So let's get started with that. And we'll go to the internet and type in make a Mac USB bootable drive. There we go. Okay, and the first thing we come to here is how to create a bootable installer for macOS. And just click on that. And we'll come right down here till we see Big Sur. And I want you to grab this text from sudo all the way up to the / right past volumes and just copy it. Okay? All right, now let's go up here to Spotlight and type in terminal, and then paste that line of text into here, but we're going to add USB because that's what we named our stick to this. Hit enter, put in our password, and then type Y for yes and hit enter. And this will take about 15 minutes. And when it comes back, we'll be ready to go. All right, be right back, guys. Okay, guys, so here is our vanilla USB installer. Now for the fun part. I'm going to show you something that is so exciting. You're going to love it. So a new way, an easier way to build the EFI folder is to use Opencore Gen X. All right. So let's click on Releases, Pavo, IMOC Gen X. All right. So let's just grab right here the app. Okay. We'll go over here to Downloads and let's just pull it out here. Okay. So right click and open, and then click Open. And if you don't, then you won't be able to open it because the software will think it's a malicious virus. So, as we said before, this is a Haswell system. Now what this does, this software goes out and gets everything needed except the SSDTs and puts it into a folder for you. I mean, it is so simple. So we're going to go ahead and choose Haswell because that's what I'm working on. And there's the different chipsets that they have. This down here is Ryzen. And then we're going to click on Kext. All right, so these two are always needed, so it's by default it's already set up. So we'll click on Virtual SMC Plugins, and we really don't need any of these unless you want them. This is to see what your how hot your CPU is getting if you're using an app for that. I don't put anything in there, but I do jump over to Graphics and grab whatever green, and Audio, and grab Apple ALC. This particular Tiny93 on Ethernet uses the Intel Mousy, so I'll click that. And then under USB, I don't need anything. And then we'll go to Firmware Drivers. It's going to install these for us. And then the SM BIOS on the Opencore website. We need to know what the SM BIOS is going to be for our Tiny93. So let's go over here and get started. We'll go to Haswell, and we'll just scroll down till we see Platform Info right there. And our Haswell with the built-in graphics uses iMac 14,4. So I just type that in, iMac 14,4. That's it. You hit Generate EFI, and it's all done right here. Is that amazing or what? Now, we're still going to need, let's look at this here. We're still going to need our SSDTs. But if we look under Drivers, right there, we have them. And if we look under Kext, they're already there. And we have a config.plist started. So let's go ahead and get the SSDTs for this particular computer. Okay, so we'll go back up to the top of the Opencore Desktop Haswell Broadwell chipset guide, and we're going to need these two plugins. So let's just click on SSDT plug. We come over here, we go to pre-built SSDTs, and here we are, Intel Desktop Haswell Broadwell, and we need both of these. So I'm going to download them. All right, that's simple. Now I'll go over here to Downloads and just copy these two. Go over here to the EFI, OC, ACPI, and paste. All right, done with that. Now what we have to do is we do have to use those files that we downloaded earlier. We have to use property, and we're going to need mount EFI. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to mount EFI because I want to mount the hidden EFI partition on the USB stick. So we'll right click on mount EFI.command and open. Select number 1 because that's my stick. Put in the password for a computer. And here is my EFI. Now if I've got something else in there, I'm just going to erase it, get rid of it, and I'm going to drag this folder that the OC Gen X made for me All right, let's close out of here. Let's close out. And now I'm going to grab property, property.command, right-click, open. And I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to simply go to File, Open. Here is my hidden EFI partition on my USB, the folder, OC, and config.plist, and click Open. The first thing that I want to do is inject all of those files that are in my EFI folder into the config.plist. So all we have to do is go over here to File and do an OC snapshot and make sure we're on the EFI hidden partition, the EFI folder, OC, and click Choose. And this new version of property, it tells you what versions it found. And it says it found an OC version 6.1 to 6.3, which we are on. Target snapshot version is 6.4. Would you like to snapshot for 0.6.1 and 6.3 instead? Yes, I would. Because I'm on, if we open this back up, I'm on this version right here, 0.6.3. Okay? All right, then I'm going to go back over here and go OC clean snapshot and click choose and say yes again. All right. Now, what I can do is we can go back over here to the guide and just verify that all of the settings are correct. And they should be. So here's the quirks. Avoid runtime defrag. Yep, true, yes. Enable write unprotector. True. And set up virtual map is set to true. All right, now device properties. We do need to set up our device properties so our onboard graphics work. So all we need to do is we need to add this row of characters, just copy it, into our config.plist under device properties. So click on add, right click, and choose new child under add. And there it is. Double click and just paste that text into there and hit enter. Then choose here, make sure that's set to dictionary. Then we need to make another child, as you can see in the picture here, under this. So right click and new child, and there it is. And what do we need to put there? This info. So just copy those characters, double click, and paste. And then change this to data and add this set of characters right here into here. Now this is just for the Tiny 93. If you have a different Haswell, then you want to read this section about graphics because it will tell you what you need to use for different setups. But right now, I'm using a desktop Haswell with the integrated graphics on the CPU. So this is what I need to get the graphics to work and to work with accelerated graphics. All right, so let's scroll on down. We got the kernel right here, and we'll scroll on down to quirks again. Right there they are. And we'll just verify that everything here is set up properly. So it says right here that Apple CPU PM config lock should be set no. Needed if running 10.10 or older and cannot disable CFG lock in the BIOS. Okay, I cannot disable it, so I'm going to leave it turned on to true. And the same for the next one. All right, disable low mapper is set to true. It's correct. And then everything else here you'll see is set properly. Okay, so we're good to go. So let's scoot on down to miscellaneous, and everything here is already done for you to this wonderful program by Pavo, the Gen X program. So everything here is done for us. We don't need to mess with it. So we do need to come down here to NVRAM and put in our boot arguments, which is right here. So what do we need? We need this one, debug, copy, and double click and just make sure there's one space between each argument. Paste that in there, and then one more for the audio. Right here, copy and paste. And then hit enter. All right. Now I'm going to change the language to English. So to do that, we just double click on data and select string. And right here, I'll scoot down here. Right here, we need to put in for English EN-US:0 and then hit enter. If you need a different language, it'll be right here. Click here and it shows you all of the different languages. All right. So we'll go back over here to the guide. And we're done with language. Right here, right flash is set to yes or true. So we're good there. Platform info, we already set that before to 14,4. And there it is. So we're done. So let's just go to File and Save. And we've already got it on our hidden partition. So we're ready to go. All right, so let's get into the BIOS and we'll start booting this thing. All right, let's go. All right, so on the Lenovo Tiny 93, you want to hit F1, start tapping it when you turn it on to get into the BIOS. And there we go. All right. Okay, so the first thing we can do is just go right under Devices and make sure the serial port is disabled. Let's go to USB setup, hit enter, and you just want it set up like this. Everything here, this USB debug support, we don't need it, so we disabled it. Everything else is enabled. Okay, hit the escape key. ATA drive setup is turned on and enabled. Okay, video setup, we definitely have to set it up just like this. IGD, which is integrated graphics, 64 megabytes, and set total graphics memory to maximum. Audio setup, yep, it's turned on. Network setup, yes, it's turned on. Let's go over to advanced. CPU setup, we want to come down here to, if you'll notice, you can't get to VTD to disable it. That's because when we go over to startup, we have CSM support disabled. So we don't need to worry about that. It's already disabled for us. So we're good. All of these other ones, you can leave them by default. Power by default. Security, there's nothing in here that we need to check. And we want to make sure, of course, that our CSM is disabled. So we'll just exit changes, save changes and exit, and put our stick in a USB port and start pressing the F12 key. Okay, and we're going to choose the UEFI USB and hit enter. We come up here and we want to choose on my screen number 2, which is install macOS Big Sur external, which means the external USB stick, and hit enter. And this takes a little bit of time, but it keeps going and does its thing. As soon as it comes up to the disk utility screen, I'll be right back. All right, here we go. Now guys, these boot screens are totally different than Mojave and Catalina. This is a much bigger file, like I said, and it is different and it reboots several times. So let's wait till it comes all the way up. Okay, here we are. So what we're going to do is choose disk utility. And then we'll choose right here this down arrow and make sure we show all devices. And I'm going to choose my SSDT and click erase. Okay, I'm going to choose macOS, APFS, and GUID partition and click Erase. Then click Done. Hit the red X, install macOS Big Sur, and click Continue. And then Continue, Agree, and Agree. Choose the macOS right here, the drive. Whatever you named your drive, that's what you choose, and click Continue. And away it goes. Now, this takes a long time to get through here. It says 18 minutes, and I'd say that's about right. So we'll come back when this gets closer to the end. Like I say, this takes a lot longer to install because it's a bigger file, but we'll show you everything. And it just rebooted. So just leave your stick in there, and you'll see all of this text all over the screen. So it's a little different. Okay, now it's coming up again on the Apple logo, and we just wait. And now it says about 29 minutes remaining, and that's about right, guys. It takes a long time, so we'll come back when this gets closer. Okay, so at 13 minutes, it reboots again. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it comes up to macOS installer, and it should continue, and it is. So let's see what happens here. Totally different text and screens than the older versions. But just bear with it. See what happens. I want you to see these screens because they're different, and you might think you're being, you're stuck or you're getting into a loop or something, but it continues on. When I first saw this ramrod display thing, I thought, oh my God, no, it's not doing something right. But it continues. You just gotta hang in there. And then it starts to look more normal. I see some text that's kind of the same as Catalina or the others. But then this is all different. And then back to here. And it picks macOS, which is what I named my hard drive. So that's a good sign. I know it's boring to see these screens, but I just want to give you an idea what you can expect. And then we get to the Apple logo. I think, okay, we're almost there. Come on. And then another reboot. So this is like reboot 4. And here we come. And this looks more like Catalina, this part. And yay, it looks like it's going to come up. There it is. Yeehaw! All right, let's pick our country. Ooh, and it's talking to me. Okay, continue. I don't need any accessibility stuff. So not now. Okay, continue. And I'm not going to do any migration assistance, so I'm going to click Not Now and Set Up Later for sure. You don't want to sign into Apple yet. And then skip. These screens are different. Agree and agree. And then just name it whatever you like and give it a password. Continue. All right, and I do customize settings here. I enable location services and then I turn off analytics and continue and set up later. And no, I don't want Siri. You can have Siri if you like. Continue. And then choose your look. And that's it. We are in. So, long process, guys. Give yourself like an hour to install the OS now. Now, real quick, I'm going to show you how to change the serial number and move the EFI folder from the USB stick to the hard drive. So we'll click continue here, press the buttons it wants us to press, and we're done. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to go over here to Safari and just go over to my website. It's easier to find the files. TechNolli.com. And then just click over here where it says More and then Downloads. And then we want Mount EFI. So we'll download this. And that's all. Well, no, we want to change the serial numbers. So let's do that. So we'll grab the Gen SM BIOS and download that. All right, that's good enough. Now we'll go to Downloads and we'll open up Mount EFI and then right click on Mount EFI.command and open. And then open. Okay, and then say okay. A lot of security settings. All right, so number 1 is our USB stick. So I want to press number 1 and hit enter, put in the password. And now I have my EFI folder or partition here. And I also want to open up the EFI on the hard drive, which is macOS. So number 3, enter. And then I can close terminal. Go over here to computer. Click on this is the EFI hidden partition on the hard drive, which is here. This is the USB stick. So let's go ahead and double click on this one and then double click here. And we want to move the EFI folder from the EFI hidden partition on the USB stick to the hard drive EFI partition and click replace. Okay, now I can get rid of the stick, and ejecting takes longer, so no biggie, just so you know. Let's go to Downloads and double click on Gen SM BIOS and then right click on Gen SM BIOS.command and open, and then open. And this is just the same. So we're going to select number 1, hit enter, and then hit enter on done, and then select number 2, and it wants to know where our config.plist is. So we'll go over here to computer, and we'll go to the EFI partition, the EFI folder, OC, and then just highlight and drag the config.plist over to here and hit enter, and then press number 3 to generate the SM BIOS. Hit enter. And if you'll remember, the product name for this is iMac 14,4 and hit enter. Just generated those numbers that we need. Hit enter again. We are done. I will go ahead and reboot just to make sure everything worked. Restart. Okay, and pull out your USB stick. Now I haven't turned off the -V in the config.plist, so we're still going to see text on the screen, as you see here. But if you want to get rid of that, you can do that in the config.plist. You just get rid of -V under boot args. So boots up much faster than the install, of course. And there we go. Put in our password. We're done. So a much easier path now, making the EFI folder using OC Gen X. That should make your life a lot easier. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to show you real quick here, though. We do have our serial number, and our graphics are showing up properly. This is the 4600 graphics. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again.